nice of you to drop by and see what this is all about. And you know, it's kind of interesting to see also so many people don't have anything else to do on board this fantastic ship. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, it's always fun coming here. You know, I started doing this about 10 years ago. I was captain on the Sovereign of the Seas. Anybody been on the Sovereign of the Seas? Yeah. It's a great ship. It was the ship that I started out when I first started in the company in 1990. I was only 8 years old, and but I started as a young officer there. You know, worked my way up to that, or bribed a couple of people. But you know, it's back in those days. You know, 10 years ago, with the Sovereign, as you may know, has about she took about 2,600 guests, 2,700 if she was packed. And I felt then at the time it was kind of difficult to, you know, meet and greet with everybody and say hello and, you know, that kind of stuff. So I started to do this called the Captain's Corner, and it has, you know, become popular around the fleet. So many ships or many captains are doing it, you know, different. Anybody been to a Captain's Corner before? Yeah, so you have. Good, different captains do it differently. Some like to have the whole executive committee up here, or the hotel director, or the chief engineer. And I like to do it alone because then at least I can control the answers, you know. And typically I know more about the engines than the chief engineer does. But anyway, so you know, and here on this ship, as you can imagine, with 6,000 guests, you know, it's even more difficult to meet everybody, and you know, people always have questions, and you know, anything goes. It doesn't have to be about the ship or whatever questions you want. You know, if I don't have the answer, I'll wing it and hope you don't catch me. Okay, that's the bottom line. I also told you that I have some footage that I want to show you, where you know, we kind of have taken. It's just a few minutes long, you know, just to give you a hint of what the crew areas kind of look like. Now, we don't exactly want to show you a crew cabin, but we'll show you some crew areas. We'll show you some footage from the engine room. You get to see the engines and stuff, you know, and then from the bridge, and also how we maneuver the ship. So, which is quite interesting too. So. With that, I guess we can get started. So keep your eyes peeled open here on the screen, and I'll tell you what we are seeing. So here we go. Start to show a little bit of the crew quarters. You know, we have more than 2,000 crew working on board. This is down on deck 2. This is the I-95, we call it. Yeah, there you go. It goes all the way from the back of the ship to the front of the ship. This is where we have our crew shops, our crew coffee room, our crew mess room. We call it the garden cafe. It's kind of a similar style as the Windjammer. Well, that actually looked like leftover from the Windjammer, but anyway, it's pretty good food. You know, all kinds of different flavors down there as we cater to people from all around the world. We have a library for the crew, internet stations for the crew. They can check their emails. We have play rooms, PlayStation 3, I guess they use there. All kinds of activities, pool tables, you know, darts and all that stuff. That's a crew disco with a crew bar and all kinds of things for the crew to relax after hours, to kind of throw their feet up and relax. As you can imagine, many of the crew are on board for 6 to 8 months on board, so you kind of have to have a way to chill out and relax, you know. From the galley, have you enjoyed the food on board, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, it is delicious. I mean, look at this. And as you all know, it's all fat and sugar-free. You know, so it is really good stuff. We have hundreds of cooks. Obviously, here comes the waiters in the dining room to pick up the food and take it out. It's just one thing after the other. Really, really good stuff. Extremely talented with our executive chef, our very own Iron Chef. I called him Thomas. They're a great guy with lots of good food and including our specialty dining rooms as well. It's fantastic. From the engine room, we have 6 engines. That is number 3. Number 1, and 3 of them, they are 16 cylinders. And the other 3 are 12-cylinder, a total of 132,000 horsepower. This is down below where we have our freshwater production plant. We have all kinds of things, as you can imagine, gadgets and valves and all kinds of things that I really don't know what the hell to do. But anyway, this is the control room, and this is where the engineers are monitoring the entire power plant on board 24/7. And now to the bridge, and this is where real men works. This is the actual bridge as we are docked in Nassau, as we will now next week. Next cruise we will go to Nassau on Sunday, as a matter of fact. And it's a modern bridge layout, but kind of a horseshoe layout. We have our electronic charts, we have binoculars, we use that of course. Radar scanning the surface, a lot of buttons and levers and stuff. Just don't press any red buttons, that's typically bad. And this is the safety command center where we monitor all the fire alarms, and we have 1,300 cameras that we monitor all the time, including, all over the ship, including your stateroom, and that's a lot of interesting stuff to see there, for sure. Now, as you can imagine, there's always an officer on duty, and this is a big, oh, that's a good looking, oh, sorry, that's me, actually. We have, this is now, I'm kind of showing what is going to take place now when we do the maneuver leaving Nassau, as we need to back out, turn around, and then head back out towards the open water. Right now, we are out on the bridge wing, the starboard side bridge wing, and there again you see the electronic charts. It's a bird's eye view of the ship as we have to back out, turn around, and head back out. That is the lever that controls the bow thrusters, the 4 propellers we have in the bow that pushes the ship or the bow sideways, the port propeller, center propeller, and then finally the starboard propeller. So we have 3 propellers, and they can turn 360 degrees around, and that is, it's called azipods. That is what makes the ship so maneuverable. Now we are having our pre-departure brief, so that all our navigation officer, myself included, and my whole team there on the bridge knows exactly what we can expect on the next voyage and what is going to take place during the maneuver. And we go through the weather forecast, hurricane information, and all that kind of stuff. And now we're getting ready to set sail. That's a little party we have for our top crew cruisers on board. Now we're letting go of our mooring lines forward as we are getting ready to set sail. Well, we don't have sail here, but you know what I mean. Huh? And here we are off the pier. As you can see, we speed up a little bit so you see. But now I'm just doing fine tuning all the time with the levers there and control exactly where the stern is going to go. Now we're backing out, and I have to drive the stern back down into the turning basin, and you will see it's quite tight there in Bahamas as we take the entire space up. You see how close we are to the shoreline. And unless if you play on your Xbox, there's not a game over kind of thing here, So that is the propeller wash from the bow thrust. You see how close we are to the shoreline there, and as I said, you really don't want to touch anything, with the bottom. So you kind of have to be a little bit careful. Now, we are turned all the way around now, about 180 degrees. Now I go back into the center, take control here again. And now I use obviously my eyes, and I use the radar right there to know exactly where the ship is in relation to the breakwater and all that stuff. And this is now where we speed up, and I kind of have to go in between that breakwater and that breakwater on the right-hand side. And it's kind of tricky as it is in the turn and stuff. If it's windy, it's even more tricky. But we kind of do it often. So yeah, we managed to do a good one there as well. So that's how it works. I know it's short and sweet, but did you enjoy that? Yeah. Maybe it'll give you some questions or trigger some more questions for you. So we want to have a person from the cruise division, both outs here with a microphone. So once you have, if you have a questions, please keep your hand up in the air. And once you get the microphone, please state your name, where you're from, and how much money you make. Starting right there. Yes.
Hello, I'm Joanne from Ontario, Canada, and I don't make much money. I have actually two questions. One, do you anticipate them having any ships bigger than this?
Bigger. Do you want bigger ships than this? No? Me neither, because these babies are hard to handle. But, there aren't any immediate plans from the company to build any larger ships. We are building 2 more new ships that are going to be smaller than this, more of a Freedom class, about 155, 160,000 ton vessel. So smaller than this is coming up.
Also, do you anticipate having any solo cabins to, accommodate all us that are traveling alone and paying double?
Well, if any cabins with just one bed in, so you don't have to pay, no. No, all our cabins will be at least for 2 people, So whether you bring a friend or a wannabe friend, unfortunately that's what it is. I don't think anybody else will have any solo cabins too.
Oh, somebody does.
They do?
128 of them, yeah.
128? Okay.
Cabins. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, good.
Yeah.
That's all I can say to that.
Okay.
All right.
Hi, Brian from Ottawa, Canada. My question is, what role does the pilot play in coming into dock or out? The pilot comes on board.
We have to take a local harbor pilot in every port that we go to, except Labadie, there's not. But, the harbor pilot will come on board with the knowledge of the traffic situation, if there is any, the current weather situations, and that kind of stuff. It will be, it's a help to me in certain ways with whatever knowledge that they come with. But they will not maneuver the ship or anything. I'll do that.
Yes, my name is Charlie from Florida. And it says here in the fun facts that the ship is 208 feet wide. Is that at the waterline? And how wide is it at the widest?
We are 208 feet wide. That is at the waterline. Now, if you go further up, obviously, as you can tell, when you come up to see the lifeboats, they kind of hang out, So we do get wider and wider as further up we go, which is kind of the other way that you want to go if you think about if she's going to tip over or not, which I've asked myself that question too. But, it's at the widest, I can't recall exactly the maximum width, but that would be from the bridge wing to the bridge wing is 67 meters. How many feet that is, I'm not entirely sure of. But the exact widest is not the pools, but the what do you call it? The jacuzzis there that we have, which are kind of overhanging the ocean there on 4th to 15, deck 15. So it's quite big, quite wide.
Yeah, Tony from New York. 2 questions. Number 1, is this indeed the biggest ship? You always hear the Epic is bigger and the Princess has bigger ships. Is this indeed the biggest ship? And also, if I was on the Allure, would I know the difference of ships that I'm on?
Definitely you will know the difference, because I wouldn't be the first of all. But, us and Allure, we are sister ship. We are built on exactly the same drawing. So both of us, we are the world's largest cruise ships. There are no doubt, there's no other company, Princess, Carnival, whatever boats they have, they cannot compare, they cannot match. There are larger ships, though. That would be the super large crude oil carriers. They will be a few feet longer, a little bit wider even, because they carry 500,000 tons of crude oil. Super large, but obviously for a different trade. But we are the biggest cruise ships, that is for sure.
I'm Bob Leach from Florida. When I was working, I made a few bucks. But I was wondering, when did the Royal Caribbean actually start, the cruise line?
When was the company founded? The Royal Caribbean was actually founded in 1968 in Norway of 3 ship owners. And the first ship that came out in 1970, that was Song of Norway, and then Nordic Prince in 71, and Sun Viking in 72. For the next 10 years, these 3 ships, they sailed in the Caribbean, while cruising was brand new. And until 1982, then we got our ship number 4, and that was Song of America. These 4 ships are now sold, in order to maintain a young and healthy fleet of ships in the company. But the company really started to grow actually in 1988 when Sovereign of the Seas came out. But before that, in 1985, the company wanted to expand. They wanted to build these big ships. And 2 of the ship owners, the original Norwegian ship owners, they said, no, this is crazy, we don't want to risk it, and they pulled out. Now, granted, they regret it today, But the one owner that was left, he didn't want to do this on his own. So he went to the United States, got in contact with the Pritzker family. Do you know who that is? Pritzker family, they own the Hyatt hotels. They own the Hyatt hotels. So they came in and they bought, was it 30% or something in the company? Then they have an Israeli ship owner investor, and he owns 10%, and the rest is owned by this Norwegian family. In 1991, the company went public, New York Stock Exchange, and the stock exchange in Oslo in Norway as well. So since then, it's been just a one straight shot upwards, where we have had a new ship come out almost every single year. Actually, some years we've had 2 ships come out. So it's been a tremendous growth in the company. Did you have another question, you said? Yeah.
I was in the Navy for 27 years, and my rating, I had to provide all the supplies. And we left for the 8-month cruise, but I forgot to order toilet paper. Did you have emergency ways to get stuff at sea?
Emergency ways to wipe your bum if you don't have toilet paper. Is that what you want to know? Well, it's not recommended, but I'm sure you can figure out something. But, we don't necessarily go 8 months without pulling in anywhere, so we would find toilet paper for you, guaranteed, whether it is used or not.
John from Florida. On your brochure about the fun facts, it says that this ship draws 30 feet of water, but on the front and the bow, it says 90, 92, and numbers like that.
What do you think that is?
I don't think it's right. Something's wrong. Something either 30 meters or 90 feet, or what does it draw? How much water?
What do you guys think?
Meter.
So you see 900 or something, 90 or something. Yeah, it's 9 meters. 9 meters is about 30 feet. So instead of seeing feet on the markings, you will see it in 10 centimeter increments, which is the metric system, which of course the Americans is the only one in the whole world who doesn't use. But what's up with that? All right.
Yes.
Yeah, you stop.
Sam and Sandy from Fort Lauderdale. I Googled before I boarded the ship about rogue waves, so I'll let you think about that. My first question is, what's the highest wind speed would you allow to take this one out of port? What's the highest wind speed you would allow yourself to take it out?
Rogue waves. So what did you find out about rogue waves then?
There's a rogue wave on this planet every 12 minutes, but normally they're outside the shipping lanes. But from time to time, a ship does run into one, and I'm curious to know about your experience or some of the other captains on these cruise ships, if they ever had a story or two to tell you about their experience.
Yeah, rogue waves is so seldom in the waters that we go. And now, if you constantly cruise around Cape Horn, down in those areas where you have strong winds and currents and all that stuff, yeah, you're likely to find larger waves, you know. But here in this neighborhood, you know, the only waves you get here is because of the wind waves and stuff. You know, obviously during the hurricane season, if there's a hurricane, yeah, you can get 20-foot seas, you know, but you know it's not a problem for this ship, you know. To maneuver in when it comes to wind force, 30 knots, 35 miles an hour. It depends on the direction of the wind and how, if it puts us straight onto the dock, or if it's going to blow us off and down onto the rocks or whatever, many different factors. But at 35 miles an hour, then I would really start to think about either canceling going into port or delay the departure, which is actually quite high if you think about the size of the ship. But we have a lot of power, and that's, you know, I'm pretty good at what I do to it, and so of course that was a joke. Well, not really, but.
On your right, Captain.
Hi, my name is Valentina Mezzi from Toronto, Canada. I used to have money until I sailed with you on this ship.
What was that?
I said I used to make money until I sailed with you on this ship.
Well,
so now I'm broke.
Well,
I'm
you're
just
broke.
kidding.
That's good.
Captain, I'm very curious about the behind the scenes and always watching on TV all the little details. It fascinates me. I'm wondering why you aren't offering a tour, you know, maybe at the beginning of the cruise, just below the decks. I'd love to see where the
All 6,000 guests.
I'm 95.
All 6,000 guests would want to go on that tour.
I see.
How do we do that?
How about a lottery?
How about a what?
A lottery. Somebody wins that tour.
Well, we actually have something that is called an all-access tour, which happened today. It costs you $150. And it's a 3.5-hour tour, and you will be shown the provision room. You go into the control room, the engine room. It will take you all over the crew areas and eventually up to the bridge and all that stuff. So that is the way we can do it. Obviously, you don't get nothing for free anywhere. But, you know, that is what we have. To have organized tours for all our guests, it would be impossible to do, unfortunately. And a lottery, well, you know, if you didn't win that lottery, you would still ask the same question and then ask for another lottery or something, you know. So that is the only way we can handle it. Because, I mean, simply, in order to do something like that, we would have had to have another 50 crew members just to organize, and you know, we can't do it.
To your left. How you doing? My name is Labib Ansara from Detroit, Michigan. And I have a few questions. Actually, we sailed with you in 1992 on Sovereign of the Seas, and it was an excellent ship. Service here is excellent. I was really curious about your medical facility. What can you do if there's a trauma, a bad accident, maybe someone needs emergency surgery that you can't handle here? And do you do dialysis on the ship for dialysis patients?
We have partnered with Dialysis at Sea. It's an organization that will, as a matter of fact, if it's not this week, it's next week, we will have a full set of dialysis on board, and we will have 50 guests that needs the service. So we don't necessarily do it on a one-by-one basis, but if you sign up with this organization, then they will, you know, you will know then what cruise that you can go on where we will have the machines readily available. What can the medical facility do? Well, obviously, you know, we don't necessarily do quadruple bypass surgeries and stuff like that. But, you know, if something happens on board, which is quite, you know, it can happen quite often. You know, if you think about it, we have 6,000 guests, we have 2,000 crews. So there's more than 8,000 people on board the ship. Ranging from just a few months old to 80, 90 years old, you know. Not necessarily a crew, but, you know. So we have 3 doctors, 5 nurses, and the medical team will be able to stabilize a patient, whether if it is a stroke or, you know, heart attack or an accident or, you know, stuff like that. If it happened right now, for example, we would call the United States Coast Guard in Miami, they would send a Coast Guard helicopter out, probably from Key West, that's where we're closest to. They would come here, they would land on the bow, on the helipad we have on the bow, and we would do a patient transfer together with one of our doctors, and they would then fly back to either Key West or most likely to straight to Miami for a Jackson Memorial Hospital. That is typically what we use. So that is what we do. If it doesn't go, if we might have people that die on board. It can happen. We have a morgue on board, room for 8. And, so, only 8. So we have means, I hope you like my dry jokes, okay.
I'm Dave from Orlando. The government has all my money.
Yeah, I know.
Question for you. As you burn off fuel oil, do you have to reballast from the ocean?
No. We although we burn a lot of oil, but the ship is so large that it takes this ship 200 tons to change 1 centimeter of the draft. So that doesn't mean anything to us really. We take on board fuel every 2 weeks in St. Martin. Next week, when we get back down to St. Martin on Wednesday, we will take on board fuel, and that will last us then for 2 weeks until we get back down. We use a lot of fuel. We use, do you want to know how much we use? We use we bunker about 2,500 tons. That's about 660,000 gallons of fuel in that last 2 weeks, about 330,000 gallons. And the average cost on a daily basis, for 24 hours, average, is about $100,000. $100,000. It costs us about $1.4 million every 2 weeks to fill up, which you guys have already paid, so thank you very much for that. It's very nice of you. All right.
My name is Deborah, and I'm from Barrie, Ontario, Canada. My question is, how often, or do you replace the water in all the pools? Is this one of those ones that you're going to wing it?
No. We have, well, we have a couple of pools that have seawater in it, and we have a couple of pools that have fresh water in it, right? So the fresh water can stay a lot longer, at least once every month. Now, we change it a lot more often than that because of things. Now, the saltwater pools we have to change every 3 days. Every 3 days, but it's on circulation. We add chlorination to it and all that stuff. So, but a freshwater pool, and many people, especially living in Florida, I'm sure you have a pool. Many people have a pool in the back of the. I have a pool. I haven't changed the water in years. So fresh water lasts a long time, but salt water you have to change out. Where are you?
I'm Winifred Watson from Guelph, Ontario, Canada. I noticed when we docked yesterday next to the Celebrity, underneath the front of the ship, it looked like a big whale. I knew it wasn't a big whale. Was that something to do with sonar or something?
A big whale?
No, underneath.
Oh, on the bow, there is this thing sticking forward. Oh, do you know what that is?
No, that's what I'd like to find out.
Oh, that's what you're asking. Oh. Well, it's where we keep our torpedoes. In case Carnival comes too close. Just got to be prepared. That's what it is.
Thank you. Is the Celebrity a part of the Royal Caribbean?
Yes, we bought Celebrity in 1996. 1996. Have you sailed on Celebrity? Yeah. It's a great company, and they have great service and all that. Keep on cruising with them. That's perfectly fine because we get the profit. So we own Celebrity. Yes. Now this bulbous bow, that is what it's called, a bulbous bow, and we don't have. Well, I shouldn't say we don't have torpedoes because, well, we don't. But what it is for, actually, it is, anybody knows this answer? So this one I can wing, Oh, so I can't wing it. It is an invention that came, I mean, decades ago. It actually paves the way for the hull to go through the ship, the hull to go through the seas. It kind of reduces the bow wake, and it reduces friction, increases your fuel economy about 3-4%. And so that is the only thing it has to do with. You know, you will see it on all types of ships. You know, ranging from just a few hundred tons to ships these sizes. You know, so that is what it is. Thank you.
My name is Emerson from Maryland, and I wonder would this ship or any other ships ever set sail from the East Coast, like Baltimore or Norfolk or New York?
Yeah, we can sail wherever we want. You know, a lot of people say or think, wow, since we are so big, we can't go anywhere. Well, that is not necessarily true. Anybody been on Freedom Class, the Freedom of the Seas? You know, those ships? They are just a tad smaller than what we are. They are about 80 feet shorter than us. They are a little bit narrower than us and a little bit lower than us. So wherever they can go, we can go. You know, it's not about, and we are about similar depth as well. Maybe we are like 5-6 inches deeper than they. So we can go many places. It's that the company doesn't want, you know, at least for the foreseeable future, both us and Allure, we will be sailing out of Fort Lauderdale because we take care of 12,000 guests every single weekend, take them down to the Caribbean. So we take a large part of the Caribbean market that we hold, you know. So we can sail out of many places. I haven't necessarily studied the chart. You know, I know we probably would have a problem getting under the bridge there in New York. What was that bridge called? But you know, because we are much taller than the Explorer that is currently going there. But you know, it's we can go many places as long as we have the chart. All right.
Captain, to the right, please.
To my right. Oh, there.
Hi, Chris from Kansas. 2 questions. One, what is miles per hour in relation to knots? And secondly, what is the newest cruise ship in development at Royal Caribbean and when it's expected to launch?
We are building 2 new ships. They are coming out. They're being built in Germany. The delivery date is going to be October 2014, so it's still 3 years away. Still 3 years away. They haven't started cutting the steel just yet, but pretty soon they will start. It takes about 2.5 years from you start to cut the steel until it's done. So it will be October 2014. It will be more of a Freedom Class size, 155, 160,000 ton, about a 4,200 guest ship, whereas we are a 6,000 guest ship and 225,000 tons. So it will be slightly smaller than us, a little bit shorter, narrower, lower, you know, kind of shrunk in all directions. The difference between a mile and a nautical mile, you said? And here we go with the metric system again. It is, you know, a nautical mile is 1,852 meters. American mile, land mile is 1,609 meters, so it's 15% different. A nautical mile is 15% longer than a land mile. So that's why I say, you know, when I do my noon announcements and stuff, you know, I could say both of you because I have those numbers there, but I tend to use more the regular land mile. That's what most people understand, you know. All right.
I'm Matt.
We'll get you down here.
Matt from Baltimore.
Yep.
Is there any plans to like upgrade the TV system so you can get a hockey game or something?
You know, we have what do we have? CNN, Fox. So you get all the news you need, right? Oh Lord. And we have ESPN. And, you know, yeah, ESPN International, that is what we have. You know, it all comes down to how much money, you know, we are actually spending literally thousands and thousands of dollars because we have to purchase the airing rights, the showing rights for every single TV that we have on board. So if we were to add another channel of sports or whatever, it would cost tens of thousands of dollars a month. So it all just comes down to how much money and how many people are interested in hockey these days, which is quite a bit, I guess. I don't know. What team you like? The what? Oh, Washington Capitals. All right. Haven't even heard about it. All right. Sorry, I just kidding. All right.
I'm from Florida. Do you intend to build another ship this size as the Oasis of Seas?
No plans to build any more of these. We have these two ships, the Oasis class we call it. It's us and the Allure, and that the current plan, at least as it stands right now, is not to build any more. But who knows what the future might bring us. More ships of this size. Obviously, you know, we have a lot of people that are asking why don't we have any ships out of in California anymore and sailing out of San Diego or Los Angeles, you know. Any Californians there that would like to know that answer? I'm sure, you know, well, you know, with the problems Mexico has had these last couple of years, you know, puts detrimental, you know, people don't want to go to Mazatlan and Cabo San Lucas and all that stuff because of unrest and all that stuff. So it is difficult. But you know, as we see the future changes, maybe the financial troubles the entire world seem to be occupied with and having real issues with, obviously. You know, if it turns back to where we were, you know, 7-8 years ago, you know, which was booming, well, who knows? Maybe we'll buy or we'll build more of these large ships. But as of right now, there are no current plans to build any more of these big ones. But as I said earlier, we are building new ships, slightly smaller.
Here, perfect.
Right.
I have two questions. This is the biggest ship, and we had gone through the Panama Canal and had to downsize to the grandeur of the seas. I know they're building bigger, wider locks.
Yes.
Will this ship be able to go through?
The Panamanians are building a new set of locks that can take much larger ships. And we can go through the locks. Now, the problem is the Bridge of the Americas, which connects North and South America, if you like. We can't get under it unless we make a hell of a lot of speed and squeeze under. So, you know, so unfortunately we won't be able to go through. Now, maybe they are planning on raising that bridge or something, I am not entirely sure. But the canal is supposed to open, I believe, in 2014, Panamanian time, so 2020. I don't know, but you know, that is, we can go through the locks, definitely, but we are too tall to get under the bridge on the Pacific side.
Okay, then how about the Voyager class or Freedom class?
They probably can go.
Okay.
They can probably go.
Okay, there was a tour that I was on this afternoon or early the morning, the Central Park. There was a question that the lady asked and the fellow did not know the answer because he's a landscaper.
So what makes you think that I know the answer?
Because you're the captain and you know everything.
Supposed to know everything, right?
Is the rising tide bar. It was asked what happens with all the leftover drinks and such that they pour in a sink or something. Where does all that go?
What? Whatever you pour in the sink in a rising tide bar, it just vanish. Sheer magic. No, obviously it's hooked up, you know, to a drain pipe that goes inside the one of the legs, you know, and it will go down to our, you know, there's no magic here, trust me. At least that's my story of it. And now you can see if you can prove me wrong, because I actually don't know, but, well, that is the truth. It goes into the legs, the drain pipe.
Hi, I'm Diane from Atlanta, Georgia. And there's so much about this ship that I really love, but what I don't understand is why I cannot hear announcements in certain parts of the ship, like in my cabin or the solarium. I can't understand a thing that's being said.
Yeah, and when it comes to announcements, we try not to do, we don't want to do announcements inside your cabin, your stateroom. because although I know some people would like to have that, but I know for a fact that most people don't want to have announcements inside a cabin. They want to relax and don't want to be bothered with having to listen to all this yabbity-yakking that we guys do. So what I know most people do, they will just open the door because the announcements will go in the corridors. Now, so that is the reason. It's like you're caught between a rock and a hard place when it comes to announcement in the staterooms, Solarium is also, if it doesn't go to solarium, is one of these quiet neighborhoods, where you don't want to have constant ding dong and having to listen to me and these other people, So it's more of a quiet area, but that's just what it is. You won't miss anything important, guaranteed, unless it's my speech you're missing out on. But, that is what it is,
Hello, Captain. My name's Patricia from Australia, and this is an amazing ship. I'd just like to know, do Royal Caribbean have any plans to send bigger ships down under?
We have bigger ships. We have actually 2 ships there right now. We have the Rhapsody, which has been there for 3-4 years now, or something like that. Now, Radiance is there as well. Radiance of the Seas. It's a beautiful... Have you been on that one? Yeah? It's a great ship, huh? Love that ship. I was captain on there for 3 years before I came here 2 years ago. And it's a fantastic ship. Now, it's not this size, obviously, but, we also have to think about, do we send a Voyager class or a Freedom class down there? Can we get 4,000 people to sail there for every week? Or is the Radiance with 2,000 guests, is that more viable? Can we fill her up? So it has to do with that. And let me tell you, if you haven't been on the Radiance class ships yet, it is outstanding ships as well. They are beautiful ships. They have a very nice layout, and it's a lot less people on board, so it gets much more personable in a way. So you will really, really enjoy it. I was there for 3 years. We sailed in Alaska. Anybody sail in Alaska? Fantastic. You live there? Yeah? Well, where do you live? Kodiak. Ooh, it's cold there, huh? A lot of Kodiak beers, I've heard. Now, so, more bears than people. Oh, Lord. All right. 4-legged or 2-legged beers?
Hi, I'm Alan from Australia. In the engine room, is there any allowance for redundancy if you have a problem with engines, and also you're running 24/7, so therefore it's quite important that we've got engines working?
Well, it's important to have engines working, I would say that. Now, obviously, one engine must run 24/7, all the time. Otherwise, we would be dark. We don't have a extension cord back to Fort Lauderdale, So we have to have power. We have 6 engines. They each run a generator, so depending on how fast we need to go, because our propellers are also electric. Our 3 propellers are electric driven. They have a 20 megawatt electric motor, which is a 27,000 horsepower motor per propeller. Right now we're doing about 17 knots or 19-20 miles an hour. We are using 3 engines. One engine is always needed in order to have power for the hotel load, we call it, which is all the lights and all the air conditioning and all the stuff that you take for granted. The rest goes directly to the propellers. They are the single most expensive or most electric consumers that we have. So whatever speed we need dictates how many engines we need to run, how many generators we need to run, how much power we need to produce.
To the left of the top.
Gabriel from Georgia. I probably have the most important question of all morning now. This is serious. With all the technology on this ship, why do we still have the toilet making so much noise like all the other ship when it flushes?
Thanks for saying, at least when it flushes. Well, it is, our toilets are it's not like the one you have at home, okay? We know that. It's a vacuum system, and the vacuum system will suck the stuff down instead of the way you have it at home, you flush it down. If we had the same system here where you flush it down, can you imagine the amount of water that we had to store and treat and all that stuff? Now, when it comes to, they are, unfortunately, our toilets are, slightly noisy, but, you can play along with it and make a tune out of it, whatever, So, but that is what it is. On ships, you have to have these type of toilets, otherwise you would just be packed or full with dirty water, basically. Let's not talk more about that.
My name is Linda from Florida, and I have a question about security of the ship when you are in port. Is there any patrolling in the water or anything like that?
As you all know, security has increased tremendously these last 10 years since September 11, obviously, and I cannot go into details of what security we have, although you may look innocent enough to know certain details. There's a couple of guys up front there, But, we have means to detect or deter any terrorist activities or anything like that. So, I just have to leave it at that.
Yes, I'm Robert from Florida, and I have two questions. What is the country that the Royal Caribbean builds the ships? And the Royal Caribbean have the biggest fleet in the industry?
We build our ships in 3 different countries, really. We have built a couple of our ships in France. That is a long time ago, back in the early 90s. But we have built most of our ships, including this one, has been built in Finland. And also Germany have built quite a lot of ships for us, and that is where these new ships also are being built, or will be built. So Germany and Finland are the 2 countries that we use. Now, is Royal Caribbean the largest? Is that what you kind of asked? Well, unfortunately, Carnival, they have managed to buy everything around except us and Norwegian cruise line. So they are actually the largest cruise operator with about 70, 80 ships or something like that. And they own Princess, they own Costa, they own whatever is out there, almost. We own Celebrity and we own Pullman Tour and have interest in some other ones. We have a total of 40 ships in Royal Caribbean fleet.
I'm here, Captain.
Yep.
Good afternoon, Captain. My name is Brian from Muncie, Indiana. And when we were docked in Jamaica, I think it was, I could see, looked like smoke or some kind of emission being released from the ship, and I didn't know what that was, and I just was curious about that.
Next. No, you saw some smoke coming from the smokestack, or?
Yes, just
some black smoke,
it looked like
or
white
white
smoke, and then looked kind of white, and then at the end there was a big puff of brown or black smoke, and then it was gone.
I'll have a word with that engineer again, No, I don't know. I have no idea. Sometimes the engineers do maintenance on one of the engines, and they have to start it up to run it in, or change some gaskets or something, But and a little puff of smoke can come from our engines. They are super large. They are 20,000 horsepower engines. So when they get started, a little puff of smoke can come up, and it's perfectly normal. It's just what it is. If it's a cold start on an engine, for example, a bigger puff of black smoke might come up. But if it's more gray, then it can be our steam, overpressure steam that has been released. Many different things it can be, actually.
Okay.
Back there. Yep. No, it's not black smoke from the steam. No, of course. We know that.
My name is Ramon. I'm from Texas. My question is, how much fresh water do you produce in a day, and how do you support your freshwater needs on board for everything?
We have a pretty extensive freshwater production plant on board. We have reverse osmosis. Have you heard about that? Reverse osmosis, a set of filtration that filtrates out the salt from the ocean, and we have good fresh water on that. And also we have something that we call evaporators. Do you know what that is? Evaporators. All right. Well, are you a sailor or what? You are. Yeah, I know you, and you are too. Fine. But an evaporator is a device. It has a small tank to it, and it will create a vacuum inside that tank. And in vacuum, water will boil at a lot less temperature than the boiling point. What is boiling point? 212 degrees Fahrenheit? So at about 95 degrees Fahrenheit, the seawater will boil. And what happens when seawater boils? Huh? Takes away the salt? Well, it evaporates and it leaves the salt back, you know. And we catch the evaporation, and the salt that is left, we dry it and then serve it in the dining room. So that's how we produce fresh water. Now, we produce 1,800 tons. That's about 200,000 gallons on a 24-hour cycle while we're out at sea. So we are self-sufficient when it comes to fresh water, which is quite extensive. We, however, we put our freshwater hoses out in every Fort Lauderdale, and we fill about 1,000 tons of water there just to top up the tanks a little bit, you know. But typically, what you have on board is homemade moonshine. I was about to say, but that's not the truth. Homemade fresh water, and of course we have to add chlorine to it, and to maintain. Yeah, exactly. To make sure that the bacteria don't grow. All right.
Good afternoon, Captain. My name is Leticia Pulley from Missouri. I really enjoyed the ship. This is the first and humongous ship I ever ridden. I have two questions. I don't know where the bowels of the ship is, but with all the 8,000 plus people here on board, everybody has to have their secretions somewhere. I just want to know, how do you recycle them? Where does it go?
Are you talking about
the bowels and the urine and things like that? Where does it go?
How about we just call it sewage?
Yeah.